Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. We're just gonna wait till about 5 past-ish to wait for everyone to join. Hi everyone. Thought we'll start. My name is Jay, and I'm a board member at National 3D Print Society. We would like to set out this call to give details of where we have been, what we are doing, where we are heading, to make it clear to you guys on the call and to everyone else in our Slack community. Um, Firstly, however, I would like to make aware that I will be taking the lead of this project moving forwards. My sole goal is to get PPE out to our front line. My colleague Mason will now focus on other areas of the National 3D Printing Society. Over the past 7 weeks, our amazing admin team have been focused on setting up each stage of what we've been doing so far. That includes you guys, the Slack community, working directly with Med Supply, um, all the supporting documentation that everyone's been slaving over, the design and the iterations of the headband, onboarding and prepping IGUS for them receiving parts and sending out parts. That then we've also got onboarding other partnerships which include RS Components, DPD, Buybox, Design Spark, our filament suppliers, and our plastic sheet suppliers. We've also got Alfie and Adam hard at work coding the site, which you guys have been using to get filament reimbursements and donate parts. We've also been working with Shield. I'll go on to explain who they are in just a second. We've been exploring our CE waiver and CE approval, and we've set up and received over 12k donations from you guys. I'm going to announce our partnership with British Red Cross now. This is something thanks to Tom, Adam, and Phil we're working hard on, and Red Cross are going to be generously helping us with our logistics network on the other side from IGUS to the end user. This is something that happened very recently, and we are working on getting this set up as quickly as possible. So just a quick point about Shield. Shield is an organization of charities like Helpful Engineering, Heroes. God, there's a few of them, including Contractors Appeal, Need, Med Supply Drive UK are also in this under this umbrella. The link for their website is in our description, or will be in our description at some point. If not, I'll post it into the chat after I've started speaking. So that was my short introduction. I'm just going to hand over to Phil very quickly, who will be talking to you about some of the facts.
Right, guys. Obviously, there's been a lot of questions in the Slack about what's going on. So we want to give you a bit of facts and figures about where we're at the moment. So we currently have over 19,000 headbands at IGUS, or on their way to IGUS. And we're as keen as you are to get these out to the front line. So at the moment, we actually have 8,000 shields at IGUS waiting to be married up with some of those headbands. So moving forwards, we've obviously concentrating on the material procurement. I've been working the last 2 days to work out the facts and figures of where we are with that material procurement for those visors. So we have already had that donation from Shield. It was 15,000, however, it's gone down to 8,000. This is, I think, Jay, could you explain that a bit clearer as to how we've worked that?
Yeah, sure. So what we've done is because as I mentioned before, we're working in partnership and directly with Shield. They've got a 3D printing hub based in Never Eat Shredded Wheat West. I think it's west of London, and they are producing. They've got quite a few printers set up there. I can't remember the total number. I think it was reaching 100 or just a bit below that. And what we did, they've asked us, can we have some sheets back? And we've agreed with for them they can take 4,000 sheets back, so they can pair headbands up directly with the sheets, and as well as us get them out as quickly as possible, which is why we said instead of us sitting on this extra 4,000 sheets just for this moment, whilst IGUS are working their way through everything, we work with them. They've got the sheets and then we're pairing them up. This also means that we're on a very good standing with Shield, the organisation, not the actual Shields, with Shield, and with potential for them to supply us with more sheets moving forwards, because they are a big organisation of charities. Does that clear things up?
Yeah, I'll just say, obviously, we've done a bit of a deal there to give them something back that they gave us, and moving forwards, they then should supply us with further shields as well. Should probably not use the word shields as visors. So we also mentioned on the last call, I believe it was, that we've purchased 30,000 shields. We have purchased those shields, and I've talked to the suppliers yesterday morning. However, I got a phone call this morning stating that the material itself has not actually turned up. Now, that was due to an error on their part, but once they explained it, you could sort of understand. I mean, I don't know if I should go into the details of it, but basically, our order was 1.5 tons. They tagged it onto another order, which was like 1,000 ton. And someone along the procurement line said, why are we ordering 1,001.5 ton of this? I'll just round it back down. However, their delivery date for those 3,000 was going to be in 4 weeks. They're now looking at helping us out because they've made the mistake. And I haven't got any confirmed facts right now about how they're going to do that. I've got an idea of what they're thinking, which is good for us, but I will hopefully come back to you on that on Friday. I'd rather not say anything when I haven't got the absolute fact about it, but we should be getting more. We should be getting something shortly. I don't know exactly how to put it, but we've also got a gentleman who is willing to donate some plastic to us, and he's going to produce that plastic. I believe it's a PET which he's producing, and that then we have got going to one of our Slack members called Andy, who has some cutters that are going to cut it for us as well. There's no exact timescale on that yet. Again, I hope to have something solid for you for Friday, until he's actually managed to produce it. Once he's produced it and it's on its way to Andy, I'll have a better idea of what timescale we're at on that. So after double checking all these leads that we've got, we should have something more tangible in the next 2 weeks to marry up to the headbands we've already got and the headbands that you're producing at the moment. So as soon as we've got more of those headbands, we're obviously, more of the visors we can marry up with those headbands. We'll get them out ASAP. Our plan with the 8,000 that we've got at the moment is for IGUS to concentrate on the 8,000 that they've got of the actual visors and marry them up to the headbands, and focus on that. And then once those are out the door, they can focus on the backlog of the headbands that they've got there. That's all I've got at the moment.
Awesome. Cheers. Adam, mate, I think it's over to you.
Yeah, so I'll just cover the topic that you all wanting and asking about in Slack, being the quality control, and also the backlog of orders. So first of all, with quality control, so obviously you're all aware there's been a lot of orders that have been rejected lately, or parts of the orders have been rejected due to quality control. Just to kind of add in here a point that someone actually just made that reminded me of something in here already. So with the quality control standards, it took us a bit of a while to get set up because we're making sure that we follow the correct guidelines, make sure that we're checking for the right things. So a lot of parts were booked in pre-quality check, and obviously points were then allocated for them, which was kind of a mistake on our part. Obviously, you got your points for them. Hence why if you donated in early days of the initiative, you got points. Where now, if you find obviously parts are getting rejected, that would be why. So what we've done to kind of rectify this, we've looked at obviously the two different designs obviously that we've got obviously coming in. Obviously there's a backlog of V3s, obviously also V7s in there as well. So the quality control document has been amended so that with regards to the stress test, the actual quality, like just the visual quality straight off the print bed before you even touch the part kind of deal, visual checks is exactly the same. It is purely just the stress test that has been changed, because due to the thickness of a V3 over a V7, which a V3 has less stretch to it than a V7, and so we've reduced that down. So I believe that document should be live. If not, it will be live straight after this call. So the requirements now are that the V7 can stretch 15 centimeters and the V3 can stretch 12 centimeters. So to give you a visual guide of that, with a V3, it's basically bringing the loop, so from the loops at the bottom, stretching it out until you're in line with the little indents at the front of the visor. Again, if you look on the document, you should be able to see that. So sorry, just going through my notes here. 1 second.
So what Adam's trying to say there is what we've tried to do is relax the stress test around the V3 in order to enable more to go through quality control, and obviously you guys to get more points and for us to get more visors to the front line.
Exactly. So atop that as well, there's been a lot of people saying about are IGUS being too harsh on quality control? Are they just not bothering to check them and whatever else? I can assure you, I speak to the guys that are doing the quality control on a daily basis at minimum, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. They are checking every single individual visor of every single donation. The only thing that they batch quality check is the clear sheets. Obviously, when they come in, obviously there's a lot less to go wrong with them than obviously with a 3D printed part. Obviously, with just 3D printing in general, you can obviously have differences in 2 separate prints with the exact same G codes, exact same settings. So they are 100% checking every single part to this exact same guide you have. And they have exactly the same guide with literally have a tape measure on their desk where they're stretching them out to and running all those tests through. So the reason that we've put these requirements in place, and some of the things obviously you're seeing, obviously the biggest one obviously a lot of people are seeing is snapped parts. We've noticed obviously the majority of that is on the V3. Also with sharp interior edges, so we can't stress enough how important it is to remove any skirts that you've used. Use a deburring tool. You can literally pick them up for a couple of pounds on Amazon. If you don't have one, obviously be carefully with a craft knife. Making sure that if there's any blobs or even things like the seam where your nozzle's gone around, obviously join the two ends of that wall together, should make sure that they're taken off, sanded off, deburred, and whatever tools you possibly have to get that fixed. Any stringing, to make sure you should remove any stringing. If you're printing the stacked versions, make sure that stacked versions are broken apart, because obviously that takes a lot of extra time at IGUS for them to take them apart. If Alfie possibly could, at this point, I'd like to show you a picture of IGUS's. Actually, no, sorry, we'll leave that until I get to the backlog part. Sorry. So basically, what you all should want to know, what are we going to do about this? Obviously, we've told you what we've done to fix it going forwards. Obviously, we've reduced we've lowered the QC test a little bit. I don't think that's quite the right word, but we've reduced it. How much we're saying that V3s need to stretch. They still stretch enough to fit on the head, and perfectly still functional. So what we're going to do as a resolution for obviously all those people's parts that have been rejected, and obviously you guys are out of filament or running low on filament, obviously because your parts are being rejected and not getting points for them. So we're going to go through the data and identify all the orders affected that basically meet the following criteria, and we'll have the following points allocated to their account. So for gesture goodwill, for any V3s that have been booked in from today going backwards in time, where you've had more than a 60% failure rate on the order, we will give you 50% of the points that you would have been awarded, or would have been awarded if all of your order had gone through. Obviously, that will only affect the failed parts. It should be just another 50% on top of the entire order. It will only be the failed parts that will give you 50% of the points for, so you can get more filament in, and then you can print some more parts. Also, just to be aware, with any rejected parts, IGUS are splitting them out into 2 boxes, PTG and PLA, so they can be sent off for recycling. That is something that we're working hard on, trying to get various recycling partners on board that can recycle it.
Can I just say as well, is when parts are rejected and people put it on the Slack, we're just as gutted as you are, because we want to get these out to the front line. We can understand it's frustrating. It's frustrating to us. And someone said, can we get a video of IGUS doing it? We've already got them on the line and said, look, show us how you're doing this. What's going wrong? It's as an emotional kick in the teeth to us as it is a physical kick in the teeth to you guys when you don't get your points or you see your bands being just thrown away. So, I just don't want you to think we don't care. We do, honestly.
Yeah, the key part here as well, especially obviously, I've seen other people with suggestions saying that could we not fix the small issues in IGUS. Now, when we get onto the next part, you'll see exactly why that's not even remotely possible. But obviously, if you've got a box of 150 parts, obviously if that takes you, say, half an hour to an hour to post-process it and take off any printing defects you've got, now times that by every single person's order going into IGUS that's got any issues with it, it's just not reasonable for them to do that. They don't have the manpower to put towards this initiative. hence why unfortunately they do just have to go into the rejection bin. Also, people saying, can we send them back? Then you guys could potentially fix them, whatever else. The cost behind that would be more than we can possibly attempt to achieve, especially with the delivery options and everything we've got. They are donated, so these ideas, as much as we would love to do these things, they're just not practical. So moving on to the backlog. So this kind of covers for all those that have dropped off in gap locations, and also anybody who, well, pretty much anyone who sent any orders in and sat there going, you've had my order for a couple of weeks, where is it? If Alfie could possibly update the image on the screen to show that the backlog would be muchly appreciated. So when there was the issue with Gap, where Gap hadn't sent the orders in, they'd been working through it at quite a nice rate. What they were getting in a day, they were able to clear in that day or early morning the following day. And as you can see from that picture there now, that's basically what they've currently got to book in. So what basically happened is I just had 2 full pallets of deliveries turn up from all the Gap locations. And since then, with obviously more orders coming in every single day, they haven't had a chance to get through that backlog. They are aware, obviously, people have donated weeks ago, trying to get the first orders in out the door. This isn't as easy as it might sound because of the variety of it and how sporadically it comes in, different couriers, different delivery times and everything else. Sometimes a box just gets put on top and they don't, you imagine digging through all of that to get to the boxes on the bottom first. It's a nightmare. So they are trying to clear through what's there now and put obviously fresh donations kind of not to one side, but kind of focus on the existing backlog and then pick it up again from the new order. So people that have sent in their parts, in some cases I've seen people saying almost a month ago, massive apologies, but don't by any means think that they're not working hard on this. Even one of their staff has even taken these home to book them in over the weekend during her only 2 days off of the week. So absolute hats off to her. She is an absolute workhorse.
Yeah, I guess I've been putting in countless. They've done so much for us. I've been very flexible, countless hours. Like we've been on the phone with managing director Matthew there, and everyone's been great, including Dean, Laura. They've all been putting so much time and effort into this initiative. And even today, yesterday we were on the phone with them, and today I think Adam may have spoken to one of the ladies there, where they're even considering putting more staff on this. Obviously depends on their normal work, and obviously because we're all in a tough situation, but these guys are amazing.
Yeah, some of the staff are even staying after hours to book these parts in. But obviously, you've got to bear in mind that these people do have families that as well, so they can't just commit all of their evening to this, as well as obviously their normal working day. So they are really working hard on getting this cleared. And as soon as this backlog's cleared, then things will be going a lot better moving forwards. So at the moment, what they've kindly done is they've got staff doing the booking and staff doing the packaging up, ready to get them out the door. I know at the moment, obviously, they've been focused on trying to get them back out the door because, if you can imagine, with the amount of headbands obviously that have been donated, they're running out of space that they're able to give to us for this, and they need to get those orders going. Of which I think I might be missing something on my notes here, but I'll get to you what the plan is. We're getting these out the door in a second. So obviously they're looking at getting those out the door as soon as possible. And then obviously more coming through is great. Obviously they can free up the space for that. So
I'd just like to add as well, we have looked at the option of obviously getting other hubs involved and other companies, but we just simply don't have the money. We have to remember that IGUS are donating this service to us for free. And to look at setting up another hub, which I was looking at, you know, it's a lot of money if you can't find someone that's going to donate this for free. What I would say is that if any of you know a hub anywhere near Northampton, is that where IGUS is?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, same location sort of thing. If we could, we're always willing for more hubs. What we can't do though is send people into Igus, because they're running on, you know, the social distancing and all that sort of stuff. So we can't force. I'd drive down there myself if I could and put these things together.
Yeah, obviously they've got to obviously adhere to the social distancing rules and that as well. So obviously more staff on this doesn't necessarily solve. It creates other issues. Excuse me. So right, moving on to kind of how we're gonna get this stuff out. Obviously, Jay mentioned obviously Red Cross. We've now they're on board with us. I literally just in the final steps of getting them set up to work, and that should be hopefully, I believe, pretty much technically done today. With just the final details being able to sort out over the next couple of days. So Med Supply now are putting orders through us. I think that the first orders they're going to be putting in as of tomorrow. Now they've got all of their steps in process. Plus, obviously, we've now got stock to move. Obviously, we'll cover some figures and obviously give you all the updated figures in a couple of minutes. So they're going to be placing their orders directly through our website, where they'll then be getting sent out via the Red Cross, their own delivery methods, and obviously we're also, as always, looking at getting more delivery partners on board. So obviously the partnership with the British Red Cross is massive. They've kindly offered to basically supply anywhere in England. They've kindly offered to deliver to anywhere in England and Scotland. Reason for this is because Med Supply Drive UK, they actually have a Scottish arm that does their own things. They do it slightly differently. You've got some different rules and different ways of working up there. So that part of the country is obviously covered. I believe Northern Ireland also got its own slightly different thing going on. So it's mainly England and Wales, obviously, that we're focusing on. So I believe most orders are actually going to be going through Red Cross, having spoken to Med Supply. And then those orders should be as fast as they come in. Hopefully we're shipping them out as fast as possible. Jay, so did you want to cover the other points for what we're working on at the minute, and then we kind of go through the stats and figures after?
Sure. So what are the plans for the rest of the week? Going into early of next week as well, we're going to continue. We're going to focus on finishing up with Red Cross, making sure they're onboarded properly and 100%. Med Supply Drive UK, we have spent the better part of this week briefing them and showing them how to place donated orders through us. We've got, through the same system you guys use, they can go on there and they can literally put in the address they want them to be sent to, and they'll be sent to the places for free. We're also focusing on the procurement of more filament to give to you guys. Looking for some cool colours, so relying on Verdant to do that. We're also getting another 300 spools donated from, and when I say another, these were the 300 spools coming from RS Components. They will be arriving this week. We've already received part of the order a couple of weeks ago. We also aim, and as Phil was speaking about the clear sheet material, that will be one of our heavy goals as well for the team. And yeah, I think that's some of the points I've written down.
I'd just like to add there that RS Components are dropping me a list of suppliers that we may be able to try and procure some stuff off as well. So they've helped us out there.
Cool. Adam, did you say you wanted to go from some stats? Maybe?
Yeah, we're going to go through some figures. Everyone likes to always know what kind of figures we've got out there. So at the moment, just give you an idea of where we're all sat. So we've got 710 obviously approved printers. So if anyone's in this call that is printing parts, obviously please make sure that you go through the members area, get yourself approved. Just drop a picture in the approvals page, get yourself on there. So donated parts so far for the V7s. So I'll just go over what's physically arrived at Igus. Obviously that's we've got our hands on that, so we know where we're going with that. So we've got over 3,000 V7s, we've got over 3,000 surgical mask grips, and we've got where is it? There, just over 20,000 of the V3 headbands. Obviously, you've seen from that the backlog picture we showed you before. There are more sat there waiting to obviously be booked in. Obviously, you guys keep making more every single day. Constantly see the order list just growing more and more. To give you an idea of how many parts we've actually physically got ready to ship out the door, so that this is obviously what I guys have been focusing on this week. So we've got where's the total gone? There it is. So we've got sorry, I'm looking at completely the wrong figures there. 1 second. There it is. So we've got just short of 2,500 headbands combined between the two different versions that are looking at getting shipped out over the coming days. Obviously, getting these out the door is not the bit I think everyone needs to understand here. We don't decide where these are going. We don't have we have a few different bits, obviously, that we deal with in different contacts we're supporting directly. But the bulk of our orders are handled by Med Supply. They prioritise various requests that they've got in, which is dependent on how urgently they need them, and a few different criteria, which, to be honest, I'm completely not qualified to have a say in. Med Supply Drive, we've got doctors and nurses and all other kind of far more qualified people than myself making those decisions, hence why they're the ones making those choices. So they'll actually be placing those orders as of tomorrow, and those hopefully flying out the door. And then I guess will obviously be working hard at building that back up. I think that's pretty much all the stats and figures. Oh, one thing I did actually forget, sorry, with looking at all the stats on here now. So with the gap locations, sorry, I meant to cover before. So I haven't had a chance to do it today because obviously during the business day, obviously we spend most of our time focused on speaking to all obviously different businesses that we're partnered with. So this evening I'll be turning off more gap locations, just to make this clear again to everybody that's not necessarily been here before. This is done in a sensible fashion. So, for example, I know Stoke-on-Trent is basically a black hole for buy box. You've got 1 mile away, but nothing anywhere near the centre, where Gap's got a location in the centre. So obviously we're looking at keeping those kind of gap locations turned on, but removing obviously ones where, for example, Reading is one I'll be turning off tonight, because there's about 5 or 6 different buy box locations that are within a sensible distance. So you'll be seeing more gap locations getting turned off, and I will send out a updated list via the update channel with which locations have been turned off, the postcodes for those locations, and the postcodes for the nearest buy box as well. So if you know where you're going, if you've been primarily using buy box. And if you do happen to want to find your nearest buy box, when you go into the donation section and then go to actually send in an order, all you have to do is pick buy box as your delivery method, and it'll give you a link to the buy box locator. Pop your postcode in there, and it will show you where your nearest one is. Just as a pre-warn, if you Google where's my nearest buy box, it won't show you the box. It will just show you their offices. So it was a very incorrect bit of information there.
What I would also mention is we had a few people with an issue with the buy box, where when you go to the screen it says please enter your PIN. That's to collect a goods out of the box. Because we're putting goods into the box, the first thing you need to do, just to remind you, is scan the barcode. When I scanned mine, I was holding it as close as possible. However, I ended up after a while maybe even about a foot away from the scanner just to get it to scan, and then it'll read that information and realize that it's classed as a return, and then it'll ask you for the PIN. So don't try to enter the PIN first and wonder why it's being rejected. That's all.
Yeah. So it's key to understand, obviously, buy box are set up to deliver to their lockers, and they've kindly bent over backwards to enable their system for us to go backwards through their system. So that's why obviously it runs through a slightly different process. Also, if you guys have any issues with any of our partners or anything like that, we ask that you contact the admin team first. If you know who we all are on Slack. If you're anyone with an admin in their name, just drop us a direct message, or post it on the appropriate channel, and then we can try and resolve your issue at our level, so we're not overloading their customer services. Obviously they're kindly supporting us for free with this. We don't want to actually bombard everybody.
Yeah, awesome. I just want to say before we move to a bit of Q&A, we're all in this for the same reason. We all want to get PPE to our front line. That is why we started this. That is why we've been working tirelessly for the past 7 months. Like, I've risked a lot of my university coursework. A lot of guys on the admin team have
7 weeks, Jay. Sorry.
7 weeks.
7 weeks. Yeah. Unless you planted Corona. 7 weeks.
A lot of the admin team have been working tirelessly. You guys have been printing like non-stop, and we really appreciate it. We literally have the same goals as you guys, and we're in the same boat. You guys are all working together, and we're trying our hardest. Yeah, shall we move to some Q&A? Unless any of the other admin guys have got anything to say.
I think one of the I know I've said it before, but definitely one of the very rarely seen, apart from on the Slack channel, Alfie, who has basically single-handedly made our entire web platform. I've been far too busy to be able to help him, unfortunately, with other tasks. And obviously he runs our YouTube calls. Obviously he's one of the few admins that you might speak to on Slack, but don't necessarily get to hear him on these calls. But he does do some amazing work for us, and I don't think we possibly have the systems in place that we have and be able to do the things we do without his support. So yeah, I've obviously a great appreciation to all the hard work he puts in.
For sure.
And I'd just like to mention that if you guys, obviously, we're doing this with our partners, and we're getting a lot of free services, which makes us a bit more sustainable. However, we're doing this with 15k at best donations. So if we had more money, we could do more, but we're doing the best with what we can. If you guys, as Verdun always usually says, can share the social medias, share the Just Gives,
subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, it really helps us out. The more money we have, money does talk, especially in a time where we're upon a recession, as they say in the news today. But with the money that we got, and you guys have done amazing.
Yeah, this community wouldn't be anything without you guys at all. We wouldn't have as many printing power thanks to you guys, and you've really helped out, and we feel the same frustration you do. We're in the same boat. We're just working our asses off on this. Cool.
Let's move to a bit of Q&A.
Yeah. So I'm going to start at the YouTube chat, and then I'll move over to Slack in a sec. Guys, where am I going to go? Where shall I start from? So, Kestrel, you've mentioned about your version 7's rejected. Michael, and Kestrel again, you're mentioning there's a lot about rejected parts and gap locations. I hope we've answered those questions throughout this call. If we've not, please ask again at the bottom of the chat. Saves me just going through every question about rejected parts or gap locations again and again and again. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll past.
So one of them I've just seen about Anne Jackson. Would it be possible to get a film of the tests? So as I'm sure people can understand, IGUS obviously their staff aren't necessarily willing to obviously be having the pictures and that taken and videos and that taken, which obviously is perfectly their right to do so. And also some of the things that they're not able to, or obviously in some cases, depending on what the topic is, obviously willing to get pictures and videos of these things to display publicly. But we do verify these things on a daily basis. As I said, I speak to the very, very nice lady there who's basically in charge of all the testing and basically hands-on with our initiative from an IGUS point of view on a daily basis, and she's in exactly the same boat as the entire admin team here. She wants to get as many of these out as possible. As I said before, she works seriously hard to support all this. Obviously, we verify her tests and everything else. They follow what we give them. As I think it was said in one of the conversations we had the other day, yes, okay, there might be a fair amount of rejections, but the reason being is we don't want to send stuff out to the front line which is dangerous or sharp or not fit for purpose, going to break or anything like that. Because if they're putting the last visor out of the box and they've got to go see a patient while they're waiting for the next delivery to come in, and that's the one that breaks, then obviously they're not protected to do their work. And I think obviously that's the reason why we have to set the standards that we set.
Yep. Awesome. DWorth, what has happened to CE making and BS standard approval? That's still undergoing testing. We will have more information on that hopefully by next week, even better by Friday, but there's no promises. We'll let you know as we do. Dean, Christian, yeah, no worries, mate, about the 400 rejections. If I'm the admin team, if you guys jump in and see any questions, I'm just scrolling through. I live locally. Next. DWorth, yeah, as I said, again about I live local and we'll be dropping off. Unfortunately, we couldn't let you into IGUS because of the social distancing in place. We
don't have authority to do so.
Yeah, that's not our company. Robert, how many processed per day? I've seen a few questions about this in the same one. Adam, have we got any little?
Give me a second. I will attempt to find the figures for that.
Whilst Adam's just looking at the stats for that question, Robert, you've asked about how many staff are allocated to it. So there is currently one member of staff who's on an 8 to 5. Another member comes in as and when she can, but that's probably majority of the day as well. But they are looking to bring in some more staff on a 2 to 3 hour basis per day. But this is completely up to IGUS.
Yes. So having spoken to them today, the actual warehouse manager there has agreed to actually put more staff on this on a varying basis. So there'll be a selection of staff that'll be getting shown the process and rolling through, so that they're going to attempt to basically have 2 people there as much as possible. But obviously, you've got to bear in mind they are a business; they've still got to pay the bills and keep the lights on. So they are giving as much to this as possible, while obviously maintaining social distancing and all the other things that go with it. For compared to obviously what they're normally doing, a fairly small production line that they've kindly provided us with the figures. So I don't know I don't actually have figures here for how many orders are checked in each day. That figure varies. I've seen it vary all the way from 60 to 70 in a day when there wasn't any headband, any clear visors there to be assembled, down to some lower numbers when they've just been doing purely assembly and booked in a couple of orders. But for assembled parts in a day, I can see that at the moment, as I said, they are ramping this up, so we're expecting these numbers to get a lot better. We've had one of the highest days we've had so far, but we're only talking since Thursday last week that actually have these figures running from. 625 was their highest packaged and ready to ship out in a day. As I said, obviously these numbers are looking at increasing going forwards.
Yeah, cool. So, Robert, what are RS offering? RS have a 3D printing hub in Corby. They have also donated over 400 kilograms of material. Sorry, not 400 kilograms of material. They've already donated 400 spools to us. They are also very helpful. I was on the phone to them today where they're helping access with their contacts and giving direct out to Phil. Design Spark, a lot of guys have come over from Design Spark, have been very helpful as well. in helping us with our marketing and posting on Design Spa. They've been doing some great things. They've been connecting us with potential filament discounts as well. Mick asks, Igus, work notwithstanding, I'm reluctant to produce more headbands until I can be sure about what I'm send will pass Igus QC. Yeah, as we've mentioned through this call, QC is crucially important, especially when these visors are going to a healthcare setting. We're as frustrated as you guys when they don't pass, but unfortunately, if they don't pass, then they don't pass. There's nothing we can do about that because we put the QC in place to protect everyone involved. And we are continuously updating our QC documents. They're available to you guys to take a look at. And we've announced what we're doing about the rules currently.
Yeah, also, again, with the QC as well, if you get any parts rejected in your order, you'll get an email back telling you the reason that Igus have put in the box. Bear in mind, they are only putting in their cliff notes, which could be just 2 or 3 words, obviously, because they're trying to process these as quickly as possible. At the moment, because obviously you're trying to save time so they can process more, if you have 100% of your donation rejected for any reason, I think it is any donations over like 20 or 30 parts, just again to save them a bit more time, they will take a picture of your order with obviously the faulty part, hopefully so you can see it, and send that across to us. You will receive that in your email telling you that your parts have been rejected for whatever reason, with the picture, if the picture is attached to that. But obviously that is quite time consuming, so they only do that where they can.
Yeah, because they're working from a phone and then they've got to upload the photo to a computer. So how many people at Med Supply Drive in call center to find care homes? So it works in a slightly different way than that. Med Supply are amazing at what they do. I think they've delivered over 150,000 donations to date. They have now over 210, I think, members in their community, but they've dedicated a small team to the face shield project, who are solely focused to get these face shields out. Me and Adam were in a call with all of them at the start of the week, briefing them on procedures and how to use the system. And it works as in the care home. Let's take a care home, for example. They place a request on Med Supply's website. These guys then call up and match them with a donator. Will be the donator at this point.
Yeah. I think with that as well, just to understand, obviously, because the instant thought there might be, well, if they're just ordering headbands, why wouldn't they necessarily come to us? But bear in mind, Med Supply supply all of the PPE, so everything from scrubs, gloves, face, the
N95s.
They're not paper face masks. Obviously, the visors, they provide a couple of different
Aprons.
types of those, obviously depending on the setting they're being used in. So that's why obviously they're the best for the job, because they have all the data and they can just correlate all these orders together.
Yeah.
A lot of people are coming to them rather than them having to chase people for these orders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I'm just scrolling down the questions.
Yeah. One here from Sonic said about buy boxes. Maybe a little bit of a distance from wherever. Yes. So Alfie actually called me when he was actually trying to drop off at his local buy box. He was right at where it says it is on the map, and then he couldn't actually find the box. So if you look on the tracker, if you actually click on the location, it will give you a little bit of a description of where it is. Sometimes they're not located exactly where you think they might be. Sometimes the description might not necessarily be the best. You've got to bear in mind, the people that are writing these descriptions, they don't necessarily live in that town, that village or area where the box is. So I literally just jumped on Google Street View and just looked around to see where the box is. That might actually be a good idea for people, where possible, to be able to find your nearest box.
Yeah. What is the demand for visors versus grips? We have the grips are on Med Supply's website. There is a demand for them. We haven't sent any out Yeah, because we have been focused heavily on the visors first, and we are in talks with Igers on the best way to send them out in whether a box or bloody envelope. And we also talks with Med Supply on the average request. This is another job that Adam is focusing on, and we are sorting out with Igers. And once we're up and running with Med Supply on the visors, we're going to be then we're going to be looking at the grips at the same time. Did I answer that correct, Adam?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, cool.
So main point is if you cover your face, obviously, then it offers obviously a bit more protection than the surgical mask grip. Hence, obviously, they're not our primary focus, but very, very much a secondary focus.
Yes.
So I think I've been kicked down a little bit because obviously the list is getting a little bit long. So in Richard saying, what additional development is in the pipeline for the website, and how about daily stats charts regarding numbers in the pipeline? Yes, that very much is in the pipeline. So because of, she probably understand the number of tasks that I have in a day. I had about 7 or 8 tasks to try and deal with this morning, which are stuck on non-stop phone calls. I don't get to spend as much time doing development as I would actually like to do, because that's actually what I enjoy most. One of the reasons I actually came onto this project was to help develop the website. So it is literally Alfie doing all the development. So he's obviously been focused on getting Med Supply requests online, dealing with all the different logistics partners and putting that into the system, so that obviously it frees up admin workload for us. But that is one of the things pretty much next on his list to do, minus any bugs that obviously crop up as we go, is to get some public stats and figures both on the website, obviously on the members area, and also we're going to be looking at getting some of those stats and figures on the main website, the main National 3D Printing Society website as well.
Cool. It's gone, Phil.
Someone's put there, RS would be better serving the cause by setting up a hub or two. They do have a hub that they're providing visors for us with, I believe. Is that correct?
They've got a 3D printing hub, yeah.
Yeah, correct. And they're printing visors, right?
Yeah, they are printing visors, and they're shoving as many printers as they can in there. Ewan, do the mask grips go through same quality control as headbands? They won't go as the exact same quality control, but there will be quality control in place for the mask grips. RS quality control processing headbands. RS is basically, with regards to their 3D printing hub, same as you guys. They're 3D printers at the end of the day, and IGUS are checking them the same as they would quality control the network's parts.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say I'm just gonna shoot through the questions with you guys as well, just to kind of speed things up.
I got Sonic asked, good idea to mention the buy box is maybe near the petrol station as opposed to the store. That was in fact correct with mine, that the buy box was at Morrison's petrol station rather than Morrison's store, but it does tell you that on the website when you look for the details of your local store. When your local buy box, when you click on it, it'll tell you located by and give you that information. He or she has also put admins. How about a list of? I think she's then put admins, or he's put admins in channel, and then put who's who page. I think she meant like a who's page. We do have that on our website. Actually, if you go to the About Us on the National 3D Printing Society website, you'll see who all the admins are.
So we've a couple there that have already been answered by Alfie hiding in the background there. There's a recent publication of government guidance regarding the small-scale manufacture of PPE change anything for us. There are some strong wording in there regarding distributing non-approved PPE. So with that, Med Supply, when they contact these various people that are requesting them, they'll literally say to them, are you happy to accept non-approved parts? Because obviously in some cases, especially with care homes and the less kind of COVID patient focused areas and less vulnerable areas, they might only be able to get excuse me, I'm losing my words here, might not be able to get parts through the normal channels. So obviously they're more willing to accept those non-approved designs. And if they're happy with that, that's where they're currently able to obviously take from our existing orders that obviously haven't gone through the CE process and whatever else. So that yes, obviously it could affect us depending on what they change with that, but at this moment in time, no, it doesn't to the best of our knowledge.
Yep. Is N3DPS going to get a stock of PETG? We're working on donations. PETG and PLA are becoming a bit scarce. We're literally with filament, we're procuring what we can, and when as we can, and the cheapest we can go. Yeah. PETG is an option. We are looking into it, but if PLA comes first, PLA comes first.
I've been knocked down the list here a bit, but I'm just going to answer these questions. I got Sonic also having login problems. I might actually be able to help you. I might impress Adam here, but with your browser, if you delete your cookies, it actually may allow you to log in, as it might have saved an incorrect web information or something like that. I'm not very technical, but I know if you delete your cookies, you might get there. And Alan has also put, so they don't check all the parts. One fails and they scrap the lot. No, that's actually incorrect.
Sorry, just to jump back to web-related issues there. Sorry, Phil. One point that I have seen actually fell victim to the other day. So when you go onto the buy box locator, if you put your postcode in, you click search, for some reason it doesn't work, Control F5 on your keyboard. Don't ask me what it is for a Mac. I have absolutely no idea, and also I don't know what it'd be for Linux either. It does a forced refresh, and then for me, it's worked every time to fix the buy box locator.
Okay, and like I say, Alan there asked about the parts that IGUS check every single part. They go through all of them. They don't just check one and bin the lot. There is I'm going to be posting after this a new QC document to show the difference between the V7 check and the V3 check. It will also have some details there about the visor. The visor is different. They will check. I think actually IGUS is going to check every single visor, and they have been, but we have to put a minimum check in place, which will have details about that, but it does not relate to the headband. That headband, every single one of them is checked.
Christian Helgrave, when will rejected points be put through? So as we said before, obviously with the points we even get back to obviously people that have had over 60% of their order rejected, which would be 50% of your points that you would have got for those parts. Bear in mind, me and Alfie, she do need to sleep, so we'll try and get that done tonight if we can. If not, it may actually take an extra day or so. Also, I'm also the one who ships all the filament out. It's all sat in my garage. I've also got a load of that to ship out tonight as well. So give us a day or so to get that sorted for you. Any more testing on molding instead of 3D printing? So Sonic asking, any more testing on molding and casting instead of 3D printing? Are you making one 3D print finished well, then mold? So the issues with that would be the material. Currently, we are purely focused on 3D printing, and only 3D printed parts will be accepted through IGUS because that's the only process we've got quality control in place for. Other options are obviously available, injection molding and many other different topics obviously available out there as well. At current, we are only focused on 3D printing. So 2 people IGUS QC and checking every 7 individual printed parts and our headband. So Robert Norris, so 2 people at IGUS checking individual parts. So yeah, as you can probably imagine, it doesn't actually take them all that long to check an individual part. But obviously times that by the number of parts, it does take them a couple of minutes to get through a box. So they're literally running their fingers around the inside of the part, focusing on making sure there's no sharp edges in there, grabbing hold of it from the bottom where the loops are. That's the same for both models, and bending at the appropriate distance. As of today, they'll be bending the appropriate distance 12 centimeters for V3s and 15 centimeters for V7s. And also they'll be packaging them up. As I said, they do try and get more staff in there where they can, but at the moment there are limitations, and obviously limitations on what we can expect from them, given how much they've already given us completely for free and off their own back. Sonic saying that would be a massively lower failure rate. I'm hoping you're referring to the changing the stretch distance. If so, I completely agree. I'm getting chucked all over the place here now. Marilis, I'm going to refer that one to Jay, because I think he's probably a little bit better with the legalities and government documents. Unfortunately, I don't get half as much time to read them as I probably should.
I'm just been reading it through it, sorry.
So I'll just jump a couple ahead while you're reading through that, Jay. Sonic, is there a device that can melt PLA into running liquids that can be poured into mold? Again, as I said before, unfortunately, we're only currently accepting 3D printed parts, not molded parts, just for quality control purposes. Also, we know what the tests are, obviously, that suit 3D printed parts and what's acceptable. With molded parts, there's a few other areas to it. And also, if you're melting, say, wasted print, like failed prints or anything else like that, there's various qualities of material and differences between different materials as well. Could come into play there. Trying to understand the scale of the bottleneck problem. IGUS, 2 to 3 people, QC checking up to 23,000 headbands at 120 a day equals 6 months. No, so they are. So what we're saying about the quantity that they've packaged, obviously that's what they've packaged up and getting out. They are. I don't know how many exact order number, how many orders they've booked in per day. I don't have that information, unfortunately. Don't actually
Marius, just regarding your point, yeah, we have seen it. We have been in contact with I've had people on the phone from NHS Improvement. We've called directly, so over the next couple of days we'll be looking more into this and getting a more clear picture of what we're going to do moving forwards. But that's something we'll update you guys as and when we know more information.
So, Robert, so they are working through clearing that backlog as quickly as they can. Any update on the flawed filament previously shipped? So, with the filament that previously shipped, anyone who's messaged myself, apologies, I'm not actually necessarily the one that replies back to you. Sometimes my wife handles my messages for me because I get too many messages and too many things I'm dealing with in a day, but she's just as aware of all this as I am. If you can send us a picture of the bulged part of the actual filament, so we can actually verify that issue on that specific spool, we can then forward that information on to 3D Printworks, and they're still looking into the matter and getting it sorted from their end. Once we have a resolution from them, she will then go back to that list of people that we've got and deal with that accordingly.
I'll have some more information for Friday's call on that after receiving an email today. But yeah.
Regarding smaller pinholes, reasons to reject. So CD, regarding smaller pinholes, why are these a reason to reject? When layer lines are big enough, virus and bacteria traps, especially vised only in a single print. So parts aren't QC'd for how smooth they are on the outer edges and all that kind of stuff for the virus side of things. It's more done on the strength and integrity of the part. So, for example, one of the tests that I was talking to IGUS about, when they were stretching out the part, it stretched and flexed to the correct size, not a problem. But what was actually happening is one of the walls was separating off. They've had other parts where when they do the same thing, some of the holes that were in the part, which weren't in kind of standard expected parts, given the shapes and the geometries involved, were actually expanding, and over use they were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So obviously that would be a failure point there for them. Jumping over the place again. Yeah, so as Alfie said, so give us a couple of days to get those points sorted out, because Alfie was going to get told off by his mum for not giving her a call. Is there a return procedure for affected filament? Drew, that at the moment, no. I said, drop me a message on Slack. Adam on Slack, you find me easy enough. We'll then correlate this list, and we'll get back to you as soon as Jay's obviously got that update through from the manufacturer, and then I'm sure I can facilitate where we go from there. If we try to find out what they're going to do, so obviously we can not drain all of our filament supplies and then not be able to supply obviously the wider group. It is a small related issue.
Yeah.
Out of all the colours that were affected, only 10% of the spools, so we've been told, should actually be affected.
I can give me a sec. I can put up the updated list of what they've told me is affected. 1 second.
Cool. Also, so Sonic's, sorry, I was going to jump ahead where you're getting that, Jay. Also, what do we do with test prints and chop mask? Would help to have some instructions and explanations on the channel. I don't quite understand if the mask isn't whole, obviously it wouldn't be usable, so I don't quite understand what you mean there. But with obviously the chopped masks and the designs, one of the things you've got to bear in mind, if you're only printing part of the model, you're actually changing the geometries of the part you're printing, and your slicer will actually work out its tool paths differently, and you potentially could end up with different issues when you print the whole part. Very good to learn and to calibrate your printer to print well, but not necessarily going to guarantee you by printing those parts that you're going to get a good quality print when you print the whole. Also, different sizes and bed levels and about 1,000 other things that come into it.
Yep.
Sorry, Jay.
No, go on, Phil.
Sue was asking, is there a delivery option for people who don't drive? If there's not a buy box close enough or a gap close enough to you, the only thing you can do is direct post it. We don't have any other option of people actually coming to pick it up from your door, unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, obviously, for any delivery company, the most expensive part of a delivery is actually the picking up or the delivery to someone's house. And unfortunately, with the delivery market the way it is at the moment, they're one of the busiest industries in the country. They're just not able to offer us those services at a cost that is, one, reasonable, and two, potentially trying to obviously get that kind of stuff for free, because it would get very expensive very quickly.
Yeah, so the affected colours are only the sunny yellow, tangy orange, lime green, and fluorescent yellow, and it's only about 10% of these that are affected. So as Adam's mentioned earlier, please, if you have a problem, message him a photo, and we're getting it on the list, and we'll have more information on what we're going to do about this very soon.
Yeah, so also with obviously those affected spools, without those pictures, and you contacted myself, obviously we don't magically know which ones are which. So by all means, please drop me messages, and we'll get those correlated and sorted as soon as possible. So is there a postal address? Yeah, I think that's been answered for you. So yes, when you go through the direct post option and create your packing slip, on both the packing slip and in the email that you get sent, there'll be the address for Argus. As well, if anyone dropping off at gap locations, obviously while they're still turned on, but a lot of them will be getting turned off later tonight. Please make sure you put your FDM number on the outside of the box so that they can book the parts in at their end, ready for the next steps of the process.
Okay. Alan, biker groups, that'd be cool. Reach out to one of the admin teams if you got any more information on that. Do we want to jump to any Slack questions quickly? I'm just going to scroll back to when we started the call at 8 o'clock. Nikki, okay, not sure if you're listening, mate, but you need to reimburse checks, mate, just can't stop producing. Yeah, agreed, we've addressed this issue in this call. So if I've skipped over the question there, basically Nikki's saying, what can we do with failed parts that failed QC? People are going to stop printing. As I mentioned time and time again in this call, the QC is there for a reason. If they're not good enough for medical workers, then in my opinion, they're not good enough for anyone else. They're not going to be good enough for tax drivers or people in the post office, that kind of thing. We need to make sure we're delivering good stuff.
the other point Nikki makes there as well, so instead about using the donation pool to try and cover these costs, we would love to, but we just do not have the money. Please share all of our social media links, the daily spotlights when they get put out, our Just Giving page. The more money we can raise, the more material we can buy to reimburse yourselves, the more clear visors we can buy, the more we can make, and the more people we can try and help with this.
Cool. This has been a long call. That's cool though. We answered a lot of questions. I'm going to say let's give ourselves another 7 minutes to get your questions in till 20 past, and then we'll wrap it up from there. So, me and channel new person explaining things. Drew's the NHS. Yep, I think the question from Drew's has been answered by Sonic S. Admin team, can you see any more questions? Adam, Phil? No,
I can't see any more that we've not already covered. So Sonic's actually just put in there about various discount codes. If anyone happens to find any filament discount codes or PPE discounts, I know a lot of them are starting to come to a close now. Because obviously these manufacturers just simply don't have the supply left anymore. By all means, share them in general. We'll get them pinned up and shared out there, so obviously more people can utilise those discounts and offers. The same as well. If we keep saying, obviously we give you points for your prints to be able to redeem and get filament. But obviously, if you wish to not redeem your points, that's perfectly fine as well. We much appreciate that. Obviously, it frees up the material for other people who may not necessarily be able to afford or able to buy their own material. But yeah, apart from that, I can't see any more questions at the moment, Jay.
I think D-Worth again, RS. So D-Worth asked a question on YouTube. He says, RS question earlier was for them to be a distribution or assembly hub, not a printing hub. We're in a position where a lot of big companies are offering up their services for free. And if these guys are offered to be a printing hub, that is amazing. We don't want to ask them and keep on asking them. We have been in consideration and speaking to them about how they can help, but that's something they haven't offered to us yet, so we don't want to take advantage of their services. They've also donated so much material to us. Could help the channel for. Yeah, good idea, Sonic S. Did hear about a VAT exemption on PPE till the end of June. Not sure how true this is. Paul, if you did have any information around that, that'd be awesome. If you get in touch with one of the admins, mate, we can go from there.
I think we seem to have come to the end. I think it'd be a good point to end it there. We'll be back on Friday.
Yep.
At a similar time. Obviously, this has been a long call, but our aim is to try and
8 o'clock again on Friday.
Cool. Our aim here is to try and answer all the questions and get things laid out of what's going on and how it's going on. We give you the facts and the information, but it doesn't give you. It just gives you the tip of the iceberg of what we're doing, because we're looking into every avenue and every possibility. And we do only tell you the stuff that's tangible, so do bear with us. But hopefully Friday we'll have some more facts and figures around the shields and be able to tell you what we're going to be doing moving forwards with them as well.
Awesome. Cheers, guys. See you on Friday. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Don't forget to share our social media links and Just Giving page, please.